Hello, and welcome to Cosmere Conundrum. I'm your host, Nemo,
And I'm Roman.
and together we are talking about Mistborn, the Final Empire. Today, we'll be talking about chapter 20 and 21. Now, these are some... It's the middle of the book, so it's getting quite slow compared to the other book chapters that came before it.
Yeah,
So,
understatement, in my opinion, for this chapter. Especially 20 is very slow.
yeah, I mean, not a lot happens.
It's not that
as we'll
nothing.
see.
It's not that nothing happens. It's just a good chunk of it is just not exciting.
Yeah, and I do think that there's quite a bit of repetition in chapter 20 and 21, like especially the things that we'll get
That is
into.
deliberate, though.
Yeah, it is
It's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's deliberate emphasis.
Mhm.
It's deliberately putting emphasis on it, which makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, that is fair, but still. We start the chapter with Vin, and it has been a few weeks since the last chapter. And Vin has attended a few more balls, amongst other things, where she has to constantly travel between Felice and Luthadel, and she's getting bored by this.
Yes, it's also a case of Lord Renew's inability to have to be in Luthadel is starting to become an issue just for repetition's sake.
Yeah. We also then learn that Kelsier hasn't really allowed her to train a lot, and she hasn't fully healed yet either. So it's
very much a case of you can read it that Finn absolutely could do more. It's just Kelsier doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, that also makes sense because of what happened. Kelsier is trying to be more cautious, and we do see Vin sort of realizing that Kelsier has changed a lot since the incident.
Yes, but I do think it's fair to say he's become overprotective.
Yeah, 100%. Then
it's a logical overprotectiveness, but it's still overprotective.
yeah, we learned that it has been 3 months since her encounter with the Inquisitor, which...
Yeah, that makes sense with a few weeks since the last ball. That tracks.
Yeah.
Because it's about 12 weeks.
Yeah, which makes it 6 months since the job began, almost. And Finn is...
5.5.
5.5 to 6, yeah. And Vin is getting very much comfortable in her role of as a noblewoman, though she is still very annoyed that she hasn't been allowed to be part of the court intrigue, and Ellen is avoiding her basically.
Yes, is avoiding her for which she doesn't seem to understand it, but I definitely understand what is going on. Lord Venture was pretty annoyed.
Yeah, that would make sense. Ellen
This screams of because of the rumors that started spreading of perhaps Renew having something over Venture.
Yeah,
that's not good for Venture.
Yeah,
and Venture is already keeping its head down because of Kelsier's attack. So
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah. See,
so it's probably more. It's not so much Ellen. I do not believe Ellen doesn't want to interact with Vin.
Yeah.
He's literally told do not interact with her.
Yeah, I do.
Beyond what
so
is required for courtly stature.
Yeah. Then we also learned that Shan Ariel has been making her life difficult at court as well. So that doesn't really help either. There's no one at the court for her to sort of talk to and be close to, because obviously while she is making new friends, she's not particularly close to any of them. She does try to distract herself, but then sees the situation of the scar and then goes back to wondering about the nobility and their disposition towards the scar and whether they see it or whether they understand it or not. It's basically exploring her exploring the difference in ideas between Vin and Kelsier about the nobility.
Yeah. Because Kelsier has a blank hatred for the nobility. That's why he cannot be reasonable about Ellen.
Yeah.
Whereas Vin does not have that. And as we learn later, Marsh doesn't have it either.
No.
Marsh has it towards the obligators instead.
Yeah, fair. Vin then arrives at Mansion Janu from her trip to Luthadel, and she sees boxes being loaded onto a cart, and we discover that the weapons and the supplies are then being sent to the caves, though under the guise that they are being sent to...
They're going west.
Yeah, they're being sent to Renew's plantations.
Which it's a risk because it makes it seem like Renew is building a military power base in the West.
Yeah, that also makes sense. But if he keeps hoarding it at his place, that also doesn't really bode well for the others.
That's suspicious. Well. That's suspicious. Not because he's building a massive stockpile, because without troops, there's no point in it.
Yeah,
it's a risk because why would you be stockpiling weapons if you have no army?
Yeah, fair.
What is, in my opinion, pretty stupid is Kel being there openly.
Yeah, I mean, we do see Finn sort of listening on to this Scar, Pac-Man, who are talking about Kelsier and his basically myth that is now growing throughout Luthadel.
But the fact of the matter is, he's in broad daylight.
Yeah.
And the nobility wouldn't be able to recognize him. The problem is, the Scar are full on associating him with Renew at this point.
Yeah, and we do...
This is an incredible risk to take.
Yeah, and we do know from the previous chapters that there are Scar here that are not particularly in confidence with Lord Renew. They're like the gardeners and all.
No.
So...
I fully honestly, you know how I have a mental idea of people might die and who might die?
Yeah.
I don't think Renew is making it out of this book. If they're this open about it. I would not be surprised if, because there's 3 books in this series, I do know that.
Yeah.
I could imagine this book ending with the plot failing.
That could also make sense, yeah.
And that would mean, at minimum, the death of Renew.
I mean, if the plot fails, that means way more than just the death of Renew.
To be fair, they could escape.
Yeah, escaping is definitely... Maybe we have...
Considering we have 3 books, they're going to escape death.
Fair, yeah.
They might not escape permanent injury. That's a different story.
Yeah. And you have mentioned, the repeated mentions of canal system and how they are being used to
they're making it very clear how... they're making it very clear how efficient the system is. Yeah. We just had the thing of it's become more efficient in the last chapter to move stone and all that.
Yeah. We obviously then learn that Kelsier and Eden are also going to the caves. Kelsier insinuates that he's taking Vin, but Vin resists to going. And
that was a test.
Yeah, it was very much a test.
That was a test to see what Vin's reaction would be, and I appreciate Vin is instinctively going, no, I have to stay for my role.
Yes, but as we know...
But she is annoyed by the idea.
Yeah, she is.
Because Kel didn't tell her, and as we learn later on, this was planned beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to
because they brought stuff specifically for Kel's visit to the army, that means Kel knew at least a few weeks beforehand, and he did not tell Vin.
No, I don't... I mean, Vin does wonder if Kel going was planned today.
It has to be, because the whole thing of the food at the end of chapter 20 of the next chapter, that's because of Kel. That's because Kel's visiting.
Is it? Because I just thought that was the better better food that they are giving the.
Kel needs to be the person handing it over from Ham to Eden.
Yeah, that makes also sense. Yeah,
this cannot have been planned on the fly because Kel's visit is essential to the army.
Yeah,
and it makes no sense for it to have been on the fly. If Eden had gone there on his, we'll get to that next chapter. We'll get to that next chapter.
Yeah, I mean, as we discussed, then Vin goes on to listen on to the Scar and just wonders about as she's waiting for Marsh. Because Kelsier asked Marsh to teach her Alavancy.
And as we learn later on in the chapter from Marsh, Kel is becoming too notorious.
Yeah, and that is also one of the reasons why Kel is going to the caves, just to lie low for a bit, so that his notoriety goes down in Luthadel specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, doing that then by leaving, by associating himself with Renew, is too high a risk, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but Finn wonders if Kel is Finn says Kel is a good person, but she also wonders if Kelsier will let the power go, or
that's very much a thing of she's not sure about it yet.
Yeah,
I think a conversation with Marsh does help a lot.
Yeah, I do think so as well. which we'll see.
Marsh is more I like Marsh a lot more than I was expecting to like Marsh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his character is very he's stern, but he's not he does not get angry a lot, which is quite
He's not angry, and even his response near the end of the chapter of Vin soothing his emotions, it could have been much angry, and it's more like, oh, she is good.
Yeah, I mean, Vin does wonder if Mars discovers what would happen, and she wants to run away, but then she stays and says, yeah, which we'll see later on, but yeah. Then at this moment, Marsh arrives, and Kelsier asks him to teach Vin. Marston sends Vin to wait for him.
Basically, it's the last of the basic A that we really still needed explained.
Yeah, definitely. Because the first 4, Kelsier has explained them pretty well because he uses them more extensively than the other 4, the external versus internal.
Yeah, Breeze has explained soothing and rioting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Breeze has explained soothing and rioting.
Mm-hmm.
And Copper is pretty basic.
I mean, there might be more to Copper because, as we learned, there is definitely more to Bronze as well. So
yeah, but Copper is probably the most basic of things.
Perhaps, yeah.
You still have... I don't think Vin can extend her bubble like Clubs could do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also not what a Mistborn needs. And that's literally something that Marge explains.
Yeah, definitely. And
is that Mistborn don't tend to focus on them.
Yeah. Yeah, as Vin is waiting for Marsh, she wonders if the fall of the Final Empire would bring the world back to how it was before Lord Ruler, and whether or not that would be a good thing, or whether or not Lord Ruler deserves to be a ruler, which is something that we'll see again in next chapter.
Yes, I don't think... I think Kel is failing to realize how indoctrinated people are.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly why he does what he does in the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's causing Ham to be pretty damn pissed at him.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Reen's voice obviously returns, telling her if that is a good enough reason to die for staying with people who care about others.
Admittedly, that's at least a reasonable point.
Yeah. Anyway, then Marsh arrives and begins training Vin, telling her about bronze and copper. Vin asks what is the point of burning bronze if everyone can hide with copper, and this is where we learn that bronze is more than what it first appears to be, because using bronze, you can identify exactly what metal is being burnt, exactly what emotion is being soothed, and that is way more powerful than it first appeared to be.
Yes, and this is also where Kel failing to continue teaching Vin is starting to play in, because Vin makes it far too easy to assume everyone she'll be fighting is a Mistborn.
Yeah, exactly what Marsh says, that not everyone is a Mistborn.
What Kel should have been doing was getting a few lurchers, coin shots, and thugs, and training her that way.
Yeah, Ham should definitely be one of the people who should train Vin.
That's probably going to be part of it, is that Ham will help train Vin in that regard.
Yeah. We don't really know any other coin shots though. That is
we don't know coin shots or lurchers, but that's more a thing of I have a feeling those might be the more common ones.
Yeah, and I no.
And also
no,
not really much you can do with it's great and all, but being the leader of a crew, not as useful as the others.
Yeah, and Kelsier himself is very adept at those two powers, iron pulling and street pushing. So he does teach.
And Vin is therefore also extremely skilled at it already.
Yeah,
we saw that in the chapter where they attacked the palace. Vin is very skilled already.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, then Marsh starts teaching Vin and asks her to close her eyes and focus on her surroundings, and she's immediately able to identify the number of sources, which surprises Marsh a lot.
Yes, Marsh is like, you've practiced. No, it's natural.
Yeah.
The response from Marsh basically comes down to a, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we later see when Marsh asks her to do the second thing, which is identifying what kind of metal it is. If it is a pushing metal or pulling metal. She does, and Marsh is further surprised.
Yeah, he's surprised by, oh, well, thank everything I'm not incompetent.
Yeah, and then finally when she's not able to identify exactly like which kind of metal it is, that's when Marsh is like, okay, I am not incompetent. You have to yet to learn a lot. Anyway.
Yeah, but I do, after that, we get the whole explanation between the internal and the external metals and all of that. It delves deeper into it, and I get the feeling that Kel might not fully understand that part.
I don't think so either. Like, Kel doesn't really think a lot about. I mean, we have discussed this before. Kel is more like a sledgehammer. He doesn't understand the intricacies of allomancy, which Finn is learning
Marsh
now.
has studied it all.
Yeah, Finn asks Marsh why does he know so much about allomancy, and this is where Finn does something which she has been asked
something
not to.
that she was not to do, but Vin did grow up as a thief.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to learn more, but nobody is telling me anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So she starts again.
It's not quite. She's not quite at the nobody's telling Percy Jackson anything level, but
yeah. That Chiron keeping the plot intact is extremely true. Anyway, Vin starts soothing Mars, and Mars starts talking.
Well, we get a few explanations about it. Like, we get a bit about how Marsh hates the obligators instead of the nobility, and that's an interesting one.
Yeah, we learned that he snapped.
I loved it. Yeah, he snapped at some point.
Yeah, he snapped when his mom was taken by the obligators, and we also learned that that's why he hates obligators, and that's why he learned all about allomancy that he could to beat the obligators, basically.
But also, I do feel like everything he's learned, it's partly to protect his brother.
I mean, we do see that later on, but because he was the only one who snapped at that time. Kelsier didn't snap at that time.
Yeah, Kelsier didn't snap. Kelsier didn't see it, I don't think.
That would make sense. I
don't think Kelsier saw it because Kelsier didn't snap at that point. Kel only snapped in the pits.
Yeah, and we later learn how.
We learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah. At that instant, Marsh realizes that Vin is soothing him, and so he asks her to stop, and she has already stopped by that point. The moment
she's already stopped, but what I love is the fact that Marsh only realized it because he started rambling.
Yeah.
So Vin is extremely subtle, but she's not subtle enough to stop such a thing.
I mean, if you start rambling and it is
a good soother knows when.
But
a good soother knows when to alleviate the pressure.
Yeah.
And Vin does not have enough experience for that, but she is scarily experienced.
Yeah, I mean, but the reason why she's soothing is also interesting because Vin still feels like people will get angry at her for asking questions and like interrogating and stuff like that, and she's still jumpy, though she's very much in control these days because when Marsh realizes she's using soothing and asks her, she says yes. She doesn't really jump away and go off or cower down.
No, and Marsh isn't. And at that point, Marsh is already not angry.
Yeah, Marsh is not angry, which also helps a lot.
He's impressed. That's what he is.
Yeah. Then Finn asks how Marsh figured out she wasn't Mistborn, and Marsh tells us that she was instinctively burning pewter and tin, I believe, which told Marsh that she's a Mistborn, basically. And
then we get something very interesting.
Yeah.
Vin is only alive because she instinctively used pewter.
Yeah.
And tin.
Yeah. And Marsh tells us that instinctively using like pewter and tin and any kind of allomancy is extremely powerful and not many people can do it.
Yeah. What I also know is like a lot of days with no food and the night spent in alleys. Reen did that too.
Yeah.
Only Reen didn't have the beatings. But I wonder, could Reen have been a thug?
Perhaps that would make sense.
He did. It was pretty. Considering how much they moved, they did integrate themselves into a lot of thieving groups.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
the
might
reason
simply
that
have been
they
like he was
survived.
effectively useful, someone with power who could be used as muscle.
Yeah.
Because it does feel a bit odd that thieving groups would protect a young girl.
Yeah.
In their lair.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it.
Yeah, because Reen has to be extremely useful for them to consider Vin to also be of like use.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, then
we move on to do you love your bro? Do you hate Kelsier?
Yeah.
It's like no.
Vin.
I love it. He's frivolous and self-important, but he's my brother.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and this is also where like Vin, Marsh realizes that
Vin is honest.
Yeah.
Vin is really honest here. She trusts Marsh already.
I mean, she does wonder later on why she's talking so much, and like how Marsh is able to get her to confess these things. She doesn't know what a conversation is, what an honest conversation, one-to-one conversation is, which.
Yeah. But what I then got is that he's like, I think we found the moment Vin snapped.
Yeah.
And I don't think Vin had realized it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
This might be. It was good to speak it finally. That's those things are like, she's been wanting to tell this to someone for a while.
Yeah.
And then that also just like, sometimes the names in this book are very awkward. The name of her baby sister is one of those. Messily.
I mean, her death was quite messy, so. Anyway, moving on. We learn how she dies and that their mother, who was apparently mad and was hearing voices, ended up.
Yeah, that word, and with the things she said, like, we haven't heard anything really about prophecies being spoken as a magical thing.
No.
But that's a very interesting thing. Sure, she could have just gone completely mad, but it's very interesting that she killed Messily, not touched Vin at all.
I mean, she proclaimed Vin to be the queen of the world, which is
just a queen. Just a queen.
Just a queen. Still, same thing. That is quite interesting.
And yeah, and that's when Reen took her away.
Yeah.
I wonder if Reen partly blamed Vin.
That would make some sense. Like
that would make some sense why Reen acted the way he did. You killed our baby sister, like because he couldn't. His mum was gone, so maybe in his mind it went, I can't do anything about my mother, but I can do something towards you.
Yeah, but he does protect Vin in his own way, like.
Yes,
which is quite interesting. Yeah, Reen is interesting. Like, he's also simultaneously one of the worst people we know, and somehow
one of the most intriguing people who haven't been.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. His motivations are very unclear. Anyway.
Yeah. Then we get to the whole. Oh boy, was everyone in love with Mare?
Yeah. Vin is so observant in this fact. Like, she deduces it out of like just a simple facial expression of.
I'm starting to. Yeah, but that's, I think, one of those things where Vin was always using her soothing ability. She's probably gotten extremely good at recognizing emotions, even if she wasn't consciously aware of she was doing it.
That would make sense, given that she does recognize jealousy on the face of Marsh. And yeah, that's quite interesting. Anyway, Finn and Marsh then also talk about why Kelsier is going away from Luthadel, which is what we talked about before, that
it's becoming too notorious.
Yeah, he's becoming too notorious. Marsh then.
What I also just like is that Marsh, compared to when Marsh first joined the crew, he now recognizes, no, Kel absolutely believes he's doing something more.
Yeah.
He still fully believes he's only in it for the money, also maybe something else.
Yeah, and I mean, we do, like, how the next chapter ends, definitely there's something more, which Again, Kelsier is not
because we
telling
have
us.
a plan he refuses to tell us
Yeah,
about.
I mean, we did talk about it. I think did we talk about it last time or like just between the recordings?
I can't remember.
Yeah, we talked about how main characters, especially if they are POV characters, they hide a plan, and that is something that becomes infuriating if it goes on for too long. But
it becomes infuriating if a story is in first person, I think.
Yeah, definitely so.
And this is not first person. It is a little bit. It is dragged out in The Last Olympian.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're outright in Percy's head.
Yeah, it's dragged out for like what, eight chapters before it finally resolves.
I can't remember when the dip into the sticks happens.
I think it's 8 chapters. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's long enough that it becomes quite. It becomes an issue just to read Percy thinking about the plan and then not telling the reader what he's thinking about. Just mention the plan over and over again. Now he's nervous about the plan and so on.
Oh, for God's sake.
Anyway.
Yeah, chapter 8 is I take the worst bath ever.
Yeah, I do remember reading that.
But by that point, we do know the plan because chapter 7 is my math teacher gives me a lift. So.
Yeah, fair. Then Marsh asks Vin to practice and leaves. And Vin wonders about how it would feel like to have a loving sibling relationship. This which is very in the chapter.
You might not have that. You might not have that, Vin, but you do have a overprotective father now.
Yeah.
And thanks to Marsh, a somewhat loving uncle.
Yeah, I mean he does like Vin to some extent. Like, he's not getting angry at Vin, and he's definitely sees her potential. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then we get the epigraph, which is very short.
Another prophecy type epigraph.
Yes, but I will point out the explicit use of man is always a specific choice in prophecies.
Yeah.
The hero of ages shall not be a man, but a force. No nation may claim him, no woman shall keep him, and no king may slay him. He shall belong to none, not even himself. It's always a risk with things because that screams translation.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's saying his, and then it's also saying his
and
not
no
man.
Woman no woman shall keep him is very interesting phrasing because.
Yeah, it's pointing to something that we have yet to like pinpoint exactly what it is. But
the next epigraph does help a little.
Yeah.
Or the next chapter helps a little bit what we get explained in it.
Definitely.
Because the next chapter, we should just continue straight away because we started with the book anyway.
Yeah, chapter 21. We start with Kelsier sort of reading the translation that is given to him by Sejud, which just repeats the things that we have already like read in the epigraph, except like it goes further in the first para at least.
Yes, it does, but it does go into it a little.
Yeah. Yeah, it talks about the author's imposter syndrome basically and how he's again the same things that we have read in the past.
Honestly, yeah, the only things that are really new are in the first paragraph.
Yeah.
Of it. It's the stuff of is my defense of the Summerhill really burden by which the hero shall be dubbed, and the several marriages and all that.
Yeah, definitely so. And this is where like it contrasts with the things that were mentioned in the previous like prophecy-ish epigraph, which again the author tries to justify to himself that he is the hero of ages, but we don't really get a proper explanation of why he's the hero of ages. Anyway, Kelsier then thinks that the person in the book feels human and not
he does not like thinking about the Lord Ruler as human.
Yeah, because he has equated him Lord Ruler to a monster, and that he is going to like obviously kill that monster at some point. So he doesn't like thinking about Lord Ruler in terms of like gray. He is completely black and white situation with the Lord Ruler. Anyway, he does try to dismiss the fact that Lord Ruler appears to be human in these epigraphs by saying that it might be untrue, because people.
But I don't think it is.
No, but that's the thing. The thing that he says, that people do not usually see their actions as unjustified, which I think is definitely a projection from Kelsier onto the man in the journal.
Oh, absolutely. Because he believes he's fully justified in slaughtering every noble he meets.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why he's.
Reminder: he met Lord Venture and immediately went, "If I need a corpse next time, I will pick him."
Yeah, definitely so. Then obviously he says that while the rumors of Lord Ruler once being a savior of the mankind might be true, he didn't remain so for very long and enslaved them instead, and which is how he's justifying himself to killing the Lord Ruler, which is completely fair. I think that's one of his points that is actually completely true, that Lord Ruler didn't really remain a savior of mankind. Kelsier.
No, but that is a very common thing with immortals anyway. They struggle to maintain their mortality.
Yeah, they struggle to see the world through the perspective of someone who is mortal, someone who is here for a
regular person.
Time, yeah.
Like, it's the same reason. Yeah, it's the same thing with gods typically. It's how they're typically portrayed, especially in fiction. It's that they don't understand mortals.
Yeah, they don't understand mortals. And
it's a pretty common thing in Percy Jackson.
Yeah, very much
gods don't understand the mortals.
Anyway, Kelsier then arrives at his destination and decides to be flashy and with a full display of his elemental abilities.
Yes, and I immediately went, I know why he's doing it. I know why he's doing it. But for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I know why he's doing this. That does not mean I approve that he's doing it.
No. He does that quite a lot in this entire chapter throughout his visit to the caves.
This chapter takes a turn at the end when he acknowledges his gigantic ego.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean this chapter isn't a real slog to get through.
Yeah. It's longer than it should be. Anyway, he lets the people around.
I don't think it's longer than it should be because we do need the discussions, and also we need to set up Ham as the possible twist angry man.
Yeah.
Ham is now the closest person to betraying the group.
Yeah, because
not in a I will betray to the Lord Ruler, in a I will seize this army for myself.
Do you think so? I don't see Ham as that.
Hammond is an maybe not, but Hammond is an actual man who could lead this army. Yeadon is not.
Oh, definitely not. Yeadon, given how even Ham notices how Yeadon is being deferential to Kelsier, Yeadon will do whatever
this army is going
says.
to be... This, Kelsier literally says, it's my army.
Yeah.
And Kel isn't wrong.
No.
A good chunk of this army is only here because of Kel.
Yeah. Anyway, Kelsier lets the people around him marvel at him in awe, with his rationale obviously being that they need something to hold on to because they won't see Kelsier for months. Kelsier and Yeadon then head to the caves, and
yes, and I immediately like Captain Demu.
Yeah, they are led there by Captain Demu, who is quite young but disciplined, as we are told.
Yes, disciplined, and as we later learn, not the most skilled person, but a very loyal person.
Yeah, definitely so. And
he's not a warrior; he's an officer.
Yeah, and Kelsier does say that younger people than him have led men into war, and he compares Vin to it. How Vin is so young and still doing so much, which is quite interesting that he.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
It does make sense, definitely. Kelsier sees some of the other rebels as well and is impressed by Ham's teaching. They're better than they have any right to be. Not that they are excellent.
Yes, I imagine that at this point, we don't really know what the actual army would look like of the Lord Ruler, because we only know the garrison, but a garrison force is by definition not a field force.
No, definitely not.
But the way I'm imagining it now, especially because they have uniforms for the officers but not the men, I'm imagining the army style to be more close to the early 17th century. because that's when armies started developing rigid formations as well as clear signifiers of who's the officer outside of bright colors because they're all nobles.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this is more like, honestly, the fact nobody uses pikes is starting to make me realize they don't have cavalry.
No, they definitely do not have cavalry.
The relative lack of horses and no indication of making pikes, because even a wooden pike is good enough to fight against horses.
Oh yeah.
Horses do not like charging at pointy sticks.
Yeah.
There is no cavalry.
Yeah. Do we get an indication of
we know there are horses.
Archery? We don't get an indication of archery either, right?
No, but I feel like archery is negated by the whole gunshots and lurches thing.
Fair, yeah. But like
it's not that difficult to even a single person. One of those could probably knock out 100 arrows, purely by just
easily. Yeah. If your bodkins are like heavily metal based, definitely.
Especially you could use obsidian arrows,
but then obsidian is like extremely.
It's one of the flaws I have. Yeah. The flaws I feel like there are with a Song of Ice and Fire. It's the fact that obsidian can be made into weapons. That does not make it the most useful thing.
It's glass. It breaks rather easily.
That's why it's so easy to chip into a spear tip or an arrow tip.
Yeah.
But we haven't done anything about archers, which is starting to make walls a bit interesting.
Yeah.
Because it means you have no defense on the walls itself.
Yeah, so
your defense is wait for them to climb up the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, that is quite interesting. Maybe there are archers and these like people Scar are not being trained in archery because that takes a hell of a lot of longer time than simple spear and.
But that does not seem to be cavalry. They have horses. Because the carriages and messenger horses.
Yeah, there are horses.
But we have no indication of a rapid force of cavalry.
No, definitely not.
Heck, the road network of the Empire seems to be badly developed.
Yeah. Anyway. Since they primarily travel by canals, it makes sense that why...
There's a reason why the road network can't be maintained. It's because of the ashfalls. You'd have to constantly be sweeping them. Honestly, the road between Feliz and Luthadel is probably annoying as hell to keep clean, as we saw.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, we saw with Vin like looking at people clearing the path.
It can't be cheap, basically.
Yeah.
Not that there's money because they don't really pay the Scar much, but that's still a lot of manpower you need to use to keep the streets clean. And you can march through that with relative ease.
Yeah.
It's probably a hell of a lot more difficult to move a force of cavalry through that.
Yeah, I do think
especially considering how much food horses need. If you look at baggage trains, a ridiculous amount of that was grain. Not just for the men, but for the horses.
Yeah. Vin does say that they are more grain than swords, which makes sense. You are staying there for like a year.
Yeah, that's literally what they need for an army. It's something I really appreciate about this is that they pay that's attention to logistics.
Yeah, easily.
The adage "an army marches on its stomach" is completely true.
Anyway,
but we get to the entrance to the caves.
Yeah,
and Kelsier has a panic attack.
Almost, yeah. I mean, not outside, but as soon as he enters the caves, he has a full-blown panic attack.
He's deliberately acting like he's a little bit worried and then acts very nonchalant about it. But the second he's alone inside.
Yeah, that's when his like PTSD happens.
He doesn't completely panic.
No.
But he's dangerously close to a panic attack there.
Yeah, I mean, he has a full-blown flashback of him going through the mines and trying to retrieve ATM geodes. And this is where we learn...
Yes, and we also learn how they do... And we also learn that, wow, it's not... I get the feeling from this is that because they said no elements can be near them, what if that's just actually in total metal? I don't think we hear anything about picks.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting one. because that means they're having to rip them out with their bare hands, which would probably explain a lot.
I mean, we do know that is how they get the scars. Kelsier says that their arms are completely bruised and it scratched completely as
because they're climbing through the narrow cracks constantly.
We do learn that allomancy breaks the geodes, but Mare was tempted as well. And now they might not have they might not have tin there, access to tin.
No, I think it's more a thing of if an allomancer is there, it's a risk. But they're still stuck there. And I think Mare was a tin eye.
Tin eye, yeah.
That's probably the least useful one to escape.
Yeah, possibly.
That is actually like even bronze and copper are more beneficial.
Yeah,
because
we do know that
tin
there
is
are
more
very
useful
few guards
to survive.
Yeah, we do know that there are very few guards at the pits just to keep it secure and
it's
hidden sort of. And anyway.
Yeah, and then we get to meeting Ham again, and that outfit is late 18th century.
Yeah.
That's That's a Napoleonic era officer's uniform.
Yeah. I noticed that as well. Anyway, Ham then gives us.
Did we get a color?
Camo? No. Camo is the one he usually wears.
I can't remember if we get the color of Ham's uniform.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Perhaps.
It says his military outfit looked rather formal with square cut lines and buttons down the front.
Yeah.
But yeah, that after that we basically just get a bit on.
Yeah.
Honestly, not all that much.
No.
We learned a bit of how they're evading the Lord Ruler, in that they're always taking different routes, and that they should probably send people up there and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Ham gives a complete brief about the caves and how the entrances are rather hard to get through, which is probably why Lord Ruler hasn't really done anything about it, because he might have lost battle there in the past.
Oh, definitely. That's basically what is said.
Yeah. This is where my mind just went to what happens if there is a cave in.
Don't talk about that, because you've... There are multiple exits.
There are 3 exits, yes, but they are also very cramped. They can't really get very quickly through them.
Just marshalling the men is going to take a while.
Anyway, Eden is then grateful, and Kelsier also gives the credit back to him that Eden believed in Kelsier when Kelsier wasn't really being very earnest about it. And I think Kelsier is just...
he's buttering Eden.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Kelsier is just saying that to give some confidence to Eden, and he doesn't really...
Which is why I don't think it's a smart thing to leave him alone with the army.
Yeah, it's...
Hammond clearly has the respect of the army.
Yeah, also Ham is capable of a fighter enough to stop people like Bilk that we'll see later. But Eden is not. Eden does not have the confidence, neither the power to stop people like those from questioning him.
No, not at all. No.
Anyway.
What I do like is that discipline is clearly strong.
Yeah. And
Kelsier almost breaks it, though, by asking the soldier to if I want to leave, will you let me?
Yeah. And then obviously...
I also like how Kel has no idea how to be a general. He has no idea what he's supposed to be inspecting.
No, he's just looking around, seeing that the people are looking good and they're posted, and that's about it. There is no specific mentions of how the strategy and what all. It's all left to Ham, which, fair enough, Ham is a way better general than you can ever be, Kelsier. Then Ham and...
Can be, but... He just doesn't know a thing about it.
I don't think he has the patience to learn enough about it.
No, he doesn't have the patience to open a book. The equivalent to the Art of War probably won't be opened by him.
Yeah. Anyway.
Vin, though?
Vin would, yeah.
Vin actually wants to learn things.
Definitely. Then Ham and Kelsier go off to talk and inspect other entrances and talk about Eden and how he idolizes Kelsier, which Ham notices very much. and he's starting to get doubtful from here onwards throughout the chapter.
Ham is. You can tell that Ham's timing has made him realize we can't win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending this army to their deaths.
Yeah, definitely so.
Yeah, then we get to the point of Ham being the philosopher of the group.
Yeah. Ham says that the Scar are very inexperienced, that they won't be able to hold on to the capital for long, even if they win it. Yeah, Kelsier just assures him and tells him that he means to give the Scar a fighting chance. And we don't really know what he wants to do yet.
No, it's clearly to do with the Lord Ruler. That's definitely pretty evident.
Yeah, definitely so. Like, he says, I think 2 times in this chapter where he says that if everything goes right, the Scar will not have to fight much. Like, even later on when he says that they'll just procure all the ATM and pay off the garrison so that they join them instead of like fighting them and so on. And
which I don't even think, as I'm thinking about, if the Lord Ruler is with the garrison, that won't work.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, Ham and Kelsier then obviously return, and Kelsier tells Ham that Eden is here to replace him and that Ham is needed in Luthadel. Ham is skeptical.
Contact in the army.
Yeah, Ham is skeptical, but Kelsier says that Eden is eventually going to take over the leadership anyway, so he might as well start. And I don't think Eden is ready, but we'll see how he does later on.
Yeah, but I do agree they do need Ham back in Luthadel.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They need to be someone to talk, because they need to know if the garrison starts mobilizing to march out. They need to know that.
Definitely so. Kelsier then gets another flashback about his time in pits, how he survived every day, and that one day Mare just gave him her geode and lied to him about finding two.
And I love that Kel isn't sure why she did it. Did she do it out of guilt or love?
Yeah, which is quite interesting.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
We don't know either.
No.
And there's beaten. I even feel like that the guard that definitely knew those two were married.
Oh yeah. I mean, he does say that Mare was beaten in front of him, and that's when he snapped, basically.
Well, that night.
That night he snapped.
Thank heavens it didn't happen right there, because he would have also been beaten to death.
Yeah. That night he snapped and many people died, basically.
Sorry. Convenient that. It takes a little bit.
I think it's very much the... oh my god, I'm forgetting what I want to relate it to. But anyway, it's very much when your mind sort of accepts... Yeah, Thestrals. That's what I was going to say. It's very much when your mind accepts that you see Thestrals, and that's when you understand. That's when you snap, basically. Anyway, Ham then goes off on another of his philosophical journeys about the differences between Sky and noblemen, and this is interesting, like, conversation where Ham puts different points about number of children, height.
I love that one, because I don't think Kel is quite aware of what nobility is rather notorious for, and that's intermarrying into the same families.
Yeah, but like in this...
Which is not going to do wonders for your fertility.
Yeah, but at least in this universe, we don't really get a lot of inkling about there being enough of incest, at least.
No, but the indication of very few children.
Yeah, like Ham says no more than 3 ever, which is quite interesting.
And even in our world, nobility often has more than 3 children.
Yeah.
The old stars, at least.
Yeah. Like, Kelsier tries to refute...
You have outliers. Like, Queen Victoria is an outlier.
Yeah.
But admittedly, if there's one family that always had a lot of children, it has tended to be the British royal family of the English line.
I mean,
like, Henry I had a lot. Edward III had a lot. They might have died quite a few, but Henry VII had a lot.
Yeah, Kelsier tries to refute a lot of these points, but he's not able to refute the elemancy point, that the nobility have elemancy, and
I mean, the point of 3 children max for the nobility, that's the heir, the spare, and the girl. That is
Quite true.
literally what that is.
Definitely.
That is what that basically is. It's also something where I always get annoyed with a certain franchise written by a British author and how few children there are from the rich families.
Yeah.
They all had to have like one child.
Anyway.
Glancing at you, Malfoys.
Yeah.
Act like aristocrat. One child.
Yeah. Anyway. There has to be some difference between Scar and Nobleman, right? Because especially
absolutely.
Like, Allomantic, their abilities is definitely a clue towards them there being different.
But we have had 1,000 years of Scar being treated like shit. It's interesting that the Scar are starting to grow in height again.
Yeah, Ham says it's because of the interbreeding.
I feel like the point of... you used to be able to tell Scar and Noble apart by sight alone in terms of their height.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one because that doesn't make much sense purely nutrition ways.
No.
You'd be able to tell them apart by how thin the Scar are. But I don't think in terms of height.
Yeah, Kelsier tries to say that they are mannerist, but again, he is very much trying to rationalize that the nobility are the same as Scar, which, yes, in an ideal world they would be, but I am thinking more about in this world if they are the same.
The thing is, they don't understand the concept of species.
Yeah, definitely so.
They don't... Basically, the Scar have been treated so badly that they don't see themselves as the same species as the nobility. And that's basically what Ham is saying. The differences are so great, we're no longer the same.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is why they're pointing out that Ham himself does the height difference is reducing, or decreasing. That's an interesting point to make.
Yeah. Kelsier's point is also right that he says it doesn't really matter because the Scar have suffered for too long and they are not going to suffer anymore after he's done with it. Which, fair enough.
Yeah.
But like Ham's worries are definitely have foundation.
The whole point of the Scar is that they've been treated horribly for 1,000 years, and you can clearly tell that in that even the soldiers are timid.
Yeah.
Even the brave ones.
Yeah.
Especially the brave ones.
Especially the brave ones. Are you brave if you do not have fear? That is the ultimate question. Anyway.
But also they're already here. They're brave as is.
Yeah, definitely. So Kelsier in the next part we'll see Kelsier wonders if they are here just for the food or if they really believe in the cause. And
it's probably it's mostly they believe in Kel.
Yeah, and Kelsier just puts fuel in the fire with what he does next. We learn that a week passes, and
I want to point out is that Ham outright questions if the noblemen are right to rule over the Scar.
Yeah, that I don't think that's.
I want to point that out.
Yeah, but
no, it's not true. But I can completely see why Ham thinks that.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's almost the fact that Kel freezes and Kel nearly panics over that.
If your general is wondering that is a sentiment that is propagating throughout your crowd. Anyway.
Yeah, the next section is we get the whole thing of the Scar typically see elements as just random magic, which I like because that is literally how it would appear to most people.
Yeah, because they're not familiar with a lot of mistings and definitely not Mistborn.
No, even look at the names of the various things like thugs and coin shots because that's what they most obviously do.
Yeah, definitely so. We learned that
it's also an indication of what pewter burning people are typically used for.
Fair enough. Anyway, Kelsier just keeps on showing bits and pieces of his power now and then to keep them awed, to keep them marveling at his brilliance. He's very much trying to become the beacon for this rebellion. And
which I don't think was the original point.
No, definitely not. The original point was very much give the Scar confidence, let them take over the city, Eden will rule, and Luthadel will flourish with Scar in charge.
The plan was always use Kel's story as an influence to convince people. It wasn't make Kel the figurehead.
Yeah. Yeah, and with what Kelsier does later on, we'll see. Anyway, Kelsier keeps thinking about Ham's words and wonders if the Scar know what they're fighting for, as we said. So he concocts a plan, and we see how the plan comes in effect when he starts giving a big speech about their role in the rebellion. He picks out a troublemaker, asks Ham about it, and picks one out who is somewhat skeptical and riots his emotion enough so that he disagrees with Kelsier when Kelsier is giving a speech, which is something I think no Scar would do in normal situations, obviously, because they are so much enamored by Kelsier's presence. Kelsier uses this troublemaker Bilg to make an example and sets up a duel with Captain Demu. Now, it is interesting.
This is very much... There are a lot of ethical problems with this.
Oh, 100%. Kel is not wondering about ethical problems at all.
If Kel ever starts talking about being ethical, I will shout.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, Kelsier then asks about who is willing to defend his honor, and many people stand up, but he picks Captain Demu.
Demu.
Yeah,
he picks Captain Demu, and immediately Ham's like, "That's the worst choice you could have made."
Yeah, Demu is a good person, but he is not trained enough for this yet. Anyway,
I do like that. Bilg is not completely wrong.
No, I don't. He's justified in his fears, 100% so.
Yeah. It's just he's endangering everyone by what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. He's endangering everyone.
Kelsier does say that if they let anybody go out, there'd be a liability. They don't know who. But that's the thing. Kel puts all of this onto Bilg. I don't think Bilg is willing to betray the...
No, but that's why he's rioting.
Yeah, that's why. But he also says outright, "Are you going to? You are going to betray us to Lord Ruler?" And Bilg says he's not going to do that. But Kelsier makes everyone believe that yes, he is going to do that, or at least if he's not planning to do that, he shouldn't question Kelsier's authority.
Yeah, and this is where I know why Kelsier is doing it. I think he made a mistake.
Yeah, definitely so.
And Ham is justified in his anger.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I know why Kel did it, and in the big picture, such a thing was needed. The way he went about it.
Yeah, that's...
manipulating the man's emotions, and then seriously lying to the army by using his elements to help the move.
Yeah, then obviously we see the battle between Demu and Bilg, and how Kelsier basically uses his elemancy to influence the result by making Demu sort of win. But Kelsier almost kills Bilg. Demu resists. That is an interesting point, and that is the point when Kelsier sort of backs off.
Which, good, because I would no longer have trusted Kel if he'd actually killed Bilg.
Yeah.
In this moment. If Bilg had died because he'd been stabbed, that's fine. But Bilg has already lost it.
Yeah, his hand is broken. He's on the ground, sort of whimpering. So there's no point in killing him anymore.
Oh, not his hand is broken.
His bones.
His arm is broken.
Yeah. Same thing.
His twisted arm.
Yeah, it's shattered. Anyway, the crowd obviously sees this and is completely awed, which Kelsier uses then to encourage them more and tell them that they fight for what is right and that they fight for Kelsier. And Kelsier will never leave them unaided, insinuating that he passed his powers onto Demu during the fight, which is what Eden then says.
Yes, and Eden proves to be horribly incompetent.
Yeah. he again then perpetuates the myths of 11 metal and how he will kill Lord Ruler, and the crowd are completely enamored by Kelsier now. They are completely cheering, but Ham.
It's at this point that at this point it's like, this is no longer the rebellion.
No, this is Kel's.
This is Kelsey's army.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Ham says later on, that Kelsier lied to his army, which Kelsier says it is my army.
But I do agree. What I do appreciate is that Kel definitely doesn't like this.
No.
But Kel is definitely, of the three there, the only one who does see the bigger picture. Ham is too protective at this point.
Yeah,
Ham's grown too attached to the army, and Yeadon is an idiot.
Yeah. Ham does say that Kelsier is making it all about his ego, and Kelsier refuses that by saying that it is about something else, because there is always another secret. And that's how the chapter ends, which is...
Yeah, but I do appreciate, like, okay, so yeah, Ham says it's about your ego, and tells us sometimes we need to do things that we find distasteful, Ham.
Yeah.
My ego may be considerable, but this is about something else entirely. This is what I meant about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But also, Kel recognizes he has an enormous ego.
Yeah. I mean, Kel...
Which, hey, that's... If a person with a gigantic ego recognizes they have a gigantic ego, that's a good step.
Yeah. I mean, Kel does try to rationalize whatever he did to himself, but then he also says that he should let some people go back to Luthadel so that the rumor spreads about Kelsier.
But he's doing that specifically because it also helps with the point. It twists Bilk's point.
Yeah, definitely so.
He's basically taking Bilk's point of you're not letting anyone out into I will let you out if you're loyal.
Yeah, if you're willing to do basically what I want you to do.
This is what I'm doing. Cal would not be a good strategist.
No, I don't think so either.
Not a field like a general strategist, but he would be a good tactician. He's good at coming up with things on the fly. Basically, if you imagine, he's not Annabeth, he's Percy.
That is a good comparison.
Look, I'm going to use a metric ton of Percy Jackson references because it's just easiest.
It's the easiest. It is what like both of us, at least Harry Potter and Percy Jackson, are the ones that we are both most familiar with, obviously.
Yeah, and the other one is Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings is a bit different than anything else.
Yeah, definitely so.
Because in that they're actually proper nobles.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is also
and Tolkien actually knew how to.
Yeah.
Tolkien actually knew how to write nobility.
Yeah.
Which most authors do not know how to write nobility.
No. Yeah, at least this book is doing a good job at representing nobility. They are not incompetent yet.
I mean, I struggle with writing nobility, and most of my stories feature nobility.
Yeah, definitely so. Then we move on to the epigraph.
Might I point out? Yes, might I point out, like, an episode or two ago, you said, like, oh, these epigraphs are getting shorter.
No.
Want to take those words back? Want to take those words back?
Definitely not getting shorter, because this is one of the
I knew this was coming. I had a feeling this was coming.
Yeah, but that's the thing. This epigraph says nothing. It says that the deepness is here. It is unleashing a blight onto the world, and the crops are failing and cities are dying.
Actually, I think it says a lot, because it indicates just how big the crisis is and why they're following him.
Yeah, but the crisis is also very natural. Like deepness, whatever deepness is, it's very... It's
I think I know what it is.
Go ahead.
I mean, they're ash mounds. There's a blight in the land. Crops are failing. Cities are being laid low. And in the modern era, the ash mounds are constantly spewing ash. It is a natural phenomenon with a magical element.
Yeah.
It's volcanoes.
Yeah. I mean, volcanoes.
It's the volcanoes.
Like a super volcanic activity would make sense that it just covers the land completely and just changes entire ecosystem. So yeah, super volcano could be
Well, the thing is, there must be a magical element to it, because even in real life, nothing has caused plants to lose their green permanently.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is some magical element to it, because... And
I will point out, flowers survived the KPG extinction event. So...
Yeah, this
has to be magical in nature, purely on the basis of something catastrophic happened, and that's what the deepness really is.
Mm-hmm.
It is beatable. I'm wondering if breaking down the Lord Ruler might be a bad move because of that.
Interesting.
I do think it's the right thing to do to remove the Lord Ruler.
Yeah.
The problem is, what are you unleashing if the Lord Ruler is no longer there? Because we do know the Lord Ruler spends a bit of time every few weeks, I believe, hidden away for a bit.
So do you think Lord Ruler is a necessary evil in this world?
I'm not sure. He could have been at the start. It's just he's become an evil that might still be necessary, but too much.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's too much now because Scar.
Basically, he might have at one point been getting everyone under the same ruler. Might at one point have been the necessary evil. But he's not allowed anything to develop from there.
Yeah, he's very much kept the society stagnant for like 1,000 years now. Which, yeah, he's definitely like gone way too much.
But yeah, the one thing I do think is already so much destruction has occurred that I fear for mankind's survival. Yeah, that's a natural thing.
Yeah, it's very much feels like a natural disaster.
And combine that with the ash mounds and blight. Yeah, armies are useless before it as well.
Yeah,
an army's useless against the volcano. This is not Avatar: The Last Airbender, where it's very easy to just dig a trench and lava will avoid a village.
Yeah.
And I like that episode. It's very funny how they avoid the volcano from destroying the village.
Yeah, it's a good episode. I don't think I like it as much as some of the other episodes from that season.
Oh no, it's not. It's definitely not even close to the top 20.
Yeah. But yes.
I don't think it's in the top 10 of season 1.
No, definitely not. Anyway.
It does set up a few things, and it's also why I'm currently very laughing at what Hello Future Me is saying, because that's literally what was said in that episode.
Oh, do you mean
He's going on about Zutara and Avatar and like Aang and Katara. I will point out I grew up with that show.
Yeah,
so for me, Aang and Katara made complete sense.
Yeah, but I watched it very later on, and so see, the thing is, I have no problems with Aang and Katara. I would have liked to see more if I needed like Zuko and Katara, because I don't like the final Agnikai between Zuko and oh my god, Azula. I don't like the Agnikai between them.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Right, I'm adding it to the list of topics we at one point have to make an episode about.
Yeah.
That.
Anyway,
we have a lot of things on the invisible list of things we have to discuss. But I will point out. I will point out. I still love my parents for allowing me to watch that show. The show that starts with a genocide.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon. So I was allowed to watch a show with genocide, but not a show with animal cruelty. And I'm wondering why my parents thought that was a logical comparison.
Because one is the way of the world, the other...
No. I think it was because my parents hadn't realized that the show was on Nickelodeon.
Fair.
Because if there's you have a SpongeBob episode, then Avatar, and then Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, and then in the middle.
And in the middle is Epic War Story.
Yeah.
I remember having to wait quite a while for the last part of season 3, and I was really annoyed at that.
Yeah. Thankfully, I binged it like in a week.
Yeah, you lucky bastard.
Yeah.
And then I followed on with Korra completely and got really pissed at Nickelodeon for they screwed over Korra.
See, the reason I didn't really watch Avatar for a very long time is because I watched the movie first when it came out, like 2011.
Oh God!
Exactly. So I
also don't remind me that you're younger than me. Thank you.
I hated it, and so
that film came out in what 2009, 2010.
Whenever it came out,
because I remember watching it in. I remember watching it in theaters as well. I did not like it.
I didn't like it.
But I acted like I liked it because the people I went with liked it, and I was really annoyed by that.
Yeah.
I do remember that we came out of the movie theater and we started acting like we had bending powers because we were children.
To be fair, at that point, I really liked Dev Patel as an actor, even though I had seen him like do things, because he was Indian, well, of Indian descent, and so I liked him in the movie, nothing else. Everything else was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yes, the Last Airbender film, where we're going to take an animation project with a cultural identity set in stone, where the Earth Kingdom is blatantly China, and the Fire Nation is blatantly Japan, and the Water Tribes are very much the Inuit, and the Air Nomads are very much Tibetan monks.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? We're going to make the Fire Nation Indian.
Yeah. Fair.
Completely wrecking the world building.
It's there are much more egregious mistakes in that film than just making fire.
You mean like all the main characters who were of specific ethnicities played by white people?
Not even that. Even like from a story point. See, we'll talk about characters when the story is good. The story is not good for the characters to be any.
Oh no, because no, but then again, the Netflix series also did things I cannot approve of. They did the world building. They did correct, basically.
Yeah.
But then they forgot that the plot happens in a certain way because of certain reasons.
Yeah.
And then they started screwing with the characters, and I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Anyway, this is supposed to be a Mistborn podcast.
Anyway, no, we'll talk about Avatar if and when season 2 comes out. Then we'll talk about them.
Oh, am I being forced to watch? We're not doing Rings of Power, are we?
No. That is one episode I'll never watch. One series I'll never watch. Anything else I'm down for.
Oh, let's be honest, I will still be watching it. I will message you about it and force you to watch it anyway.
Yeah, because it's one of the only series that I stopped watching. And I don't stop watching things in the middle. I always finish.
Didn't I have to force you to continue it just so we could discuss it because I needed someone to discuss it with?
Yeah. We'll see when it comes out. We'll see. We'll talk about it.
At least we still have Percy Jackson.
Obviously. That is always been there. At least that is good.
Yes, it knows how to do an adaptation well.
Yeah, it's still an adaptation, so there are changes, but it's better than most adaptations out there.
Yeah, I like most of the changes in season 1 of the Percy Jackson show.
Yeah.
I might not agree with how they work sometimes.
Definitely.
But I can see where they came from, and also there's 20 years on top of development. I can see why they wanted to do this.
Yeah, I mean, world has moved on from 2005, so obviously the changes have to be there. Like, this is... Yeah, speaking of adaptations, this is last thing. This is why I like the change made with Aragorn in the movies, even though Aragorn in the movies is very different to Aragorn in the books.
Because it's... I can't remember. He goes from just being like, I will be king, to I'm reluctant to be king, right?
Yeah, because that's basically the evolution of heroes in storytelling since Tolkien's time to now.
It's 50 years of evolution of the concept of the hero, and by that point, the reluctant hero was more popular.
Exactly, and that's why Lord of the Rings, which is sort of a reaction to the 90s action movies, works completely well with an Aragorn who's reluctant to be king, and that is completely fine. I love that change.
And also what I don't like is in Return of the King is the complete removal of Gondor's nobility.
Yeah, both Denethor and Faramir are
it's the fact. It's also that it's the fact the removal that does remove a layer of intrigue.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that would work in film because that's a lot of additional characters to introduce in the middle of the third film.
Yeah. I mean, you could have done that maybe slightly.
They could have introduced,
but yeah.
They could have done it if they had one of the most senior noble character as an advisor already. When we first go to... But, yeah.
Anyway, it's fine. Those movies
There's
are
a relatively
amazing.
minor criticisms.
Yeah, those movies are amazing for a reason. They are like milestones.
You're going to love this. I recently saw another argument about the Eagles. And by saw, I mean I heard it, I believe, on the newest Olympian.
Yes, I heard it. I completely tuned out with that.
Yes, but to be fair, if you just know the thing of, there are these eagles, obviously it makes sense that why did they take eagles, even if there's an in-universe reason for it.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, that is basically how...
Anyway, we've now talked for like 20 minutes about things that aren't Mistborn related.
Anyway.
I wonder how much of this is going to stay in the episode.
All of it. Well, most of it. Anyway.
Remember how this was supposed to be a shorter episode?
Yeah. Anyway, This is where basically the chapter ends with the author saying that
Yes.
this is the monster that he has to defeat, and that it may be too late for the end of world is nigh.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. Is this truly the end of the world?
Yeah.
And I immediately have a song lyric in my head. God damn it.
It's fine. You might.
You know which one I mean, right?
No, which one?
It's the end of the world as we know it.
Ah, yes.
You're welcome.
I might.
How do we do this?
Anyway.
How do we do this? We go from, we're gonna make this a short episode because we don't have a lot to talk about.
Let's say bye.
And then we ramble.
Let's say bye and then anyway, with that, see you next time with the next 2 chapters. Bye-bye.
Bye.